So, you find yourself on the UnrealEntGaming channel. How fortunate for you. I, Lord Frieza, will spare your life as long as you subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, don't forget to become a member of UnrealEntGaming's Patreon for tons of exclusive content to early access media and much more. Do it now, or else.
So with the Supreme Kai, Pansy, Glorio, and Goku now having to continue their journey and getting back down to the bottom of where Gomah's location is, I want to go on ahead now and welcome you all to my Dragon Ball Daima anime episode number 7 review, as right off the gate with Dragon Ball Daima now having to be 7 episodes in with 7 weeks having to officially pass, it would seem as though as the episodes continue to roll on by, we're finally getting more action and kind of going into deeper exposition as to what is going down and getting down to the bottom of what is happening in the Demon Realm. And with the way this episode carried itself, I was really expecting and really hoping to see Tamagami number 3 go against our heroes, which we've actually learned that the Tamagamis are not going to be as weak as we originally assumed, which I also think is a very good thing because thus far, objectively speaking, all of these villains within Dragon Ball Daima have been complete cheeks from the very beginning. And I say that to say this because none of these villains have ever gone as far as to push Goku into using more effort or at least exerting more power outside of Glorio, and we know that Glorio is of course sinisterly working with Dr. Arinsu, so that's going to be a little interesting to see as to where that goes. But with the way this episode carried itself, I did not like the fact that the Tamagami number 3 unit did not fight against Goku from the very beginning, but they did in fact actually go as far as to add further detail and depth to their exposition by saying that not even Deborah could have handled any of the Tamagamis. So that's ultimately a good thing because that only goes as far as to show that you're going to need maybe perhaps a Super Saiyan 2 level character, or perhaps maybe, and this might sound like a stretch, a Majin Buu level fighter to go against the Tamagamis if they're going to be that strong to begin with. But from the very beginning, after we got the opportunity to see the Supreme Kai in action, to see Pansy in action, Glorio and Goku kind of go at it against these, for a lack of a better term, very fodder-esque soldier scouters that were scouting the area until having to come across our hero's ship. And it was only from that point where I felt like not only was the action suitable and having to see what everyone did, but I kind of wish that we got to see more of that because the action and the pacing and the elements behind all of these cinematography in the way the characters fight and the way they move, it's really well animated like I've said before, and I don't think that Daima has an art issue or an animation issue per se, but I think it's more or less of a pacing issue. But to see more of an exposition be told by Pansy in the fact of her having to carry this collar, which is also a Magenic like symbol to which she kind of is bounded by this, as are many of the other individuals within the Demon Realm. And so not for nothing to see the Supreme Kai actually free her or liberate her by destroying this collar around her neck, and to even go as far as to see the Supreme Kai in action momentarily was a cool thing because we've never really gotten the chance to see the Supreme Kai in action since the Buu saga. So seeing him actually be involved in some kind of a combat-like scenario was actually pretty good. And what was also good is seeing Piccolo, Bulma, and Vegeta finally in the Demon Realm now, and it was kind of funny to see how Bulma kept complaining about how it stinks in the Demon Realm, whereas Piccolo and Vegeta are kind of looking around to kind of scout the area, so they already know based on what they're observing that there's a sense of danger within these realms, there's a sense of instability going on, and so I like their overall focus. And even with Goku and the others having to go meet them, it was only just prior to that where we got to see finally Tamagami number 3 actually be shown standing there, which he does look a little intimidating, but what I was really disappointed on was on how not only there was a brief exposition in having to go into detail about how strong they are and how there was a Majin that had gone as far as to battle against these demons 20 years ago, or at least go up against these Tamagamis, only for these Tamagamis to simply go as far as to be explained and told as to how strong they are, but we really don't get to see that kind of be a thing in this episode until the end. So although I was hoping that this entire episode would take up the idea of seeing Goku battle against this Tamagami, what I will say is that towards the very end, once we actually got to see Goku approach Tamagami number 3, was where Tamagami number 3 actually began to kind of make his presence known by shouting, to which this shout alone had gone as far as to rock the entire landscape, and it was only after Goku pulled out his power pole against Tamagami 3's gigantic hammer was where the episode left off on such a cliffhanger, which I think really sucks because it kind of goes as far as to illustrate that we want to see this actually go down, which we will in anime episode number 8, but the overall build-up to this I would say was fair. It wasn't really something mind-blowing, nor was it something that was bad, because I like the overall approach of how they got in front of Tamagami number 3. They explained as to how the Dragon Ball was in his chest, similar to that of perhaps maybe some of the previous Shadow Dragons from Dragon Ball GT. So although that was a pretty cool thing, this episode didn't really capitalize on anything major outside of kind of going as far as to explain certain things happening within all 3 of these demon realms, which I'm more curious to kind of know about, because within the demon realm hierarchy, it seems as though we do have certain positions of demons that are stronger than others, with the Tamagamis at least being assumed to be top dogs within these realms. But I'm also more curious to know more about Dr. Arinsu, of course, Degasu, and maybe even Gomah, if Gomah's gonna actually go as far as to be a credible threat within this show. And I say that to say, realistically speaking, because Gomah hasn't really done anything, which I really want to see more of him, because thus far he has been portrayed as being sort of like kind of maybe a goof-like character, not to be taken as serious as Degasu, because I'm taking Degasu much more serious than Gomah. But even with that, before we end up actually getting to them, I do feel as though the Tamagamis are going to be a credible threat, hopefully enough having to push our heroes, especially with Goku having to maybe go and perhaps maybe exert more of his power into going into a Super Saiyan 2, perhaps maybe even Super Saiyan 3, which, not for nothing, I'm going to be honest, I really want to go as far as to see, I think a miniature sized Super Saiyan 3 Goku would look really cool, and not only from a visual perspective would that be appealing, but I think on top of the fact it would go as far as to kind of demonstrate how strong the Tamagamis are, if anything else. But I think that perhaps maybe gradually these Tamagamis are going to go from pushing our heroes from a Super Saiyan 1 to 2 to 3 to maybe even go as far as to fuse. But that's kind of like a little bit of a stretch, because we're going to have to wait and see as to how that ultimately plays out. But this episode, I think there wasn't much to it by comparison to that of episode 6. But even now, by the end of all of this, I want to go in ahead and get your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below about how you guys felt about Dragon Ball Daima anime episode number 7. Between all 7 episodes, where would you guys rank anime episode number 7 by comparison to that of episode number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6? And more importantly is that, what are your overall expectations going into this upcoming battle involving Goku and Tamagami number 3? Because what I'm really expecting and what I'm really hoping that these Tamagamis actually end up proving is that they're formidable enough for our heroes to actually go as far as to not only, I guess, exert more of their energy and more of their power within the demon realm and seeing as to what they can do as miniature sized fighters, but if we're also going to see some kind of an upcoming fusion between either Goku and Vegeta, or perhaps maybe Goku and even hell Glorio perhaps, then I'm really hoping that this is either done against one of the strongest Tamagamis, or even against maybe Degasu if he ends up showing up down the line, or maybe even against Gomah. But for us to actually get there, we're gonna have to wait and see as to what happens. So again, it was a fun episode. I definitely prefer episode 6 over 7, but maybe you guys feel differently about that. So again, let me know what you all think down in the comment section below. Again, I want to thank you all so much for being here, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. To which, once again, if you also just so happen to be new to the channel, then I do encourage for you all to head on over and smash that subscribe button, on top of making sure to give this video a big fat thumbs up by smashing that like button down below. Tune back in for more. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you all so much for your time, and I'll be seeing each and every single one of you down in the comment section below and in the next video. Take it easy, guys, and have a great day. Peace.
Hello. Did you know that you can stay up to date with the latest Dragon Ball content by simply subscribing to UnrealEntGaming?
Also, don't forget to follow on these social media platforms, you sexy son of a bitch.
Roshi.
Silent Cell, me and the fans are having a moment. That's right. I know what you want. Extra long, thick Dragon Ball content. Quality reviews with flawless editing. Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you? You dirty bitch.
Roshi, the fuck?
God damn it, I need them to subscribe, Cell.
And we're demonetized.
Yeah, screw it. Let's cut to the video.